proper job.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Robins Report podcast. And again, alive. This is getting a bit common, this one. But this time we come bearing good news for once, after what seems a lifetime. But anyway, let's not babble. Let's get straight into it. We all know why we're here. So today, it's confirmed, ladies and gentlemen. Cheltenham Town have a new manager. They have appointed their 13th permanent EFL manager and the first Welsh manager in former Newport, Walsall and Swindon manager, Michael Flynn. How good does that feel to say? We have a manager after so long. It's unbelievable. What is this manager thing? Anybody know? I don't know. I'm sure we will find out though. Anyway, no Owen this week, unfortunately. He's working on his suntan. Don't tell him I said that. I don't know where he is. I'm only joking. But we have got the
priorities. That's his problem.
Yeah. It's quite funny that we've got some good news and Owen's not here. Don't know what to say about that. But as always, I'm joined by the furniture, as we call them. I've got Mr. Mark Halliwell and Si Gardner with me. Gentlemen, how are we doing?
Very good. Very good. Good to have some good news. Although I am slightly intrigued by the way they've worded it, agreed to become.
You say we've gone early?
Yeah, and also you look at the website and there's nothing on the website about the fact that the club's website doesn't have anything about us having a new manager. So it's interesting. It is interesting. But
I mean, we got an email. And it was very insightful, I have to say.
Yeah. So they must be quite confident that nothing's going to go wrong. Let's hope so.
Well, it would be. Could we say prime Cheltenham? I don't think we should say that, should we? Should we really? But anyway.
We've had it with players before, haven't we, where they've agreed to come and then bugged off. So
yeah, looking at you, JJ Hooper.
That one's still never gone, has it, Mark? But yeah, as we say, gents, new man through the door. It's about time. I'm sorry if anybody connected with the club is watching, but it is about time. It needed doing. All the negativity that was coming in, it needed knocking on the head, and I think it needed to start going in a different direction. And I want to get your thoughts first and foremost on how you feel about this appointment, what you think he brings, and obviously he plays a similar style with the 3-5-2 formation, if I'm not wrong. How he fits in and how you see his tenure going from, I guess, what will be Monday.
Well, experience, really. I think is what he brings. He's 43 years old. He brings experience, 350 games, managed at Newport, Walsall and Swindon. I know I've seen some people, mentioning the fact, we didn't do very well at Walsall, didn't do very well at Swindon. But I don't know what the circumstances were there. Swindon, anyway, seems a bit of a basket case of a club anyway. Generally at the moment, and but it's at Newport really where people will look at it and see what he did there. Bit of a similar club to us, I would say, budget wise probably, and got them into the playoffs. They had some fantastic cup runs, didn't they? They played Tottenham at Wembley, didn't they, in a cup game at one point. So I think they beat Leicester. I know they beat Watford in a cup game as well. So they've done quite well in those sorts of games. And again, quite similar to Darryl Clark, really. I feel it's probably the best we could have got for the club that we are. I think that's probably the best sort of appointment that we could have got.
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, if we can't get Poch, Tuchel, or Potter, then you've got to go with what you've left with. And I think I'd agree with that. I think we all said last pod. I think it's fantastic how we said, "Oh, what about Michael Flynn?" Well, I think Mark called it.
Yeah,
And
I'm a bit
lo and
worried
behold, here we are.
that they've appointed my first choice again, because Darryl Clark was first choice for me last time, and now Michael Flynn's first choice for me. So I'm getting a bit worried that they've appointed my first choice two in a row here.
Yeah, it's getting a bit worrying, isn't it? So if it goes wrong, we blame you. I don't know. Is it? I don't know. Si, with this appointment,
they're almost getting a bit predictable, aren't they?
is it too easy? Too easy to predict. Si, with this appointment.
Yeah, I mean, even Wade at the time was the right idea. So
don't. Many people, yeah.
Let's not get into that tonight, please. We're just not tonight. Yeah, with this appointment, how key is it, Si, his experience at this level as well? I mean, he had 250 odd games, I think, at Newport as manager. A very, very good win ratio, by the way. How important is it that he's done over 350 as a manager anyway?
Yeah, 250 games exactly at Newport, wasn't it? And Newport is the one we have to concentrate on, because of the 3 clubs he's managed, they're the ones that are closest to us in terms of stature, in terms of in terms of expectations and things like that. So if I was going to label it, I'd look at him and I'd concentrate on what he did at Newport and say he could do that with us. I think, as we said, Swindon was a basket case. Walsall, even though they have good spells, no one seems to be able to get them up, so to speak. Like Darryl Clark was in charge of them a year before and left a year before Mickey Flynn went there. So, and he didn't do anything with them. So you almost wonder who is going to do the job at Walsall for them. So in terms of his experience, I think we're in a phase where we need that experience in the dugout. It's similar to when Darryl came in. We've got upheaval again. We've got 11 players contracted at the moment that we are aware of. We don't know if any of the youth players have signed anything. So it's a complete and utter rebuild, and you can't do a complete rebuild with a novice in the dugout. You just can't. So his experience will be absolutely crucial going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. Without overstating too much of the obvious, like I said earlier, you'd imagine first day, Monday, introduced to everybody. Mark, I'm sure you'll find your way to see him sometime next week, possibly, if they do the unveiling like they did with Wade Elliott and Darryl Clark. Just do me a favor, don't ask him for an intro. We don't need that. We don't need that curse on anybody else. But what for you, Mark? What's the first port of call for him? What's the first thing he should be looking at coming in day one? And don't say seasons in the paint job.
Seasons needs a lick of paint. Well, they got to get to work. They got to get to work on the squad, haven't they? It's quite simple. Got to get to work on the squad. We've got. So I just said it there. We've got 11 players, and so the first thing to do is to sit down, I suspect, with Gary and work out where they're going to go recruitment wise, what they need. And I'm sure he's got some ideas. I'm sure he's got some players in mind. I'm sure he'll have names that he's got that he'd probably like to bring here. I'm just trying to think. I mean, I don't think Newport had a bad record with loan players. So we'll see that. I mean, there will be loan players. I know people get annoyed about loan players and aren't great fans of them all the time, but a club like ours has got to have some. Yeah, last seasons were bad, but in the past we've had some good ones. So you never know what's around the corner there with loan players. So he'll come in with some ideas, and basically they've got to try and hit the ground running, because I mean the transfer window actually doesn't officially open for another 2 weeks, 14th of June. But we've already seen clubs announcing players hand over fist in recent weeks, and so yeah, we need to get to work and get some deals either in motion or even better over the line, and get some players in the building, because it has been a bit of a drip feed of, this player's not signing a contract, this player's leaving, this player's doing that, this staff member's leaving, this, that. It's all been a bit, there's been a lot going out of the door and not a lot coming in the door until the last few days, with Gary Johnson being confirmed as the DOF, and now Michael Flynn as the manager. Interesting that he's going to be the first team manager, because everybody was going on about, we need a head coach, but he's going to be the manager. I mean, I don't know what difference there is with that wording, but everybody calls him the manager anyway, even if they're the head coach. I don't
even
think
if you
it
are a
really
head
makes
coach,
difference to me.
Yeah, I think it's just title, because Wade Elliott was officially manager, wasn't he? But we always just referred to him as a head coach, and so I think it's just a title more than anything else, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're right. And another thing he's got to do, and we've spoke about it consistently, is figure out what staff he has. I mean, we've since had another update from David Bloxham. Going to your point, Mark, he said about they are working on transfers coming in. They have got targets. They've got people they're looking at, people they're trying to get in. But first and foremost, who's going to be on the touchline with him? What's the structure? That's still a big question mark that's there, Si. Do you believe he'll bring anybody with him? Will we see maybe Mr. Barraclough come out now and stay? We don't know, do we, really, in a sense? Is that something he should be looking at as well, initially?
It'd be interesting to know what's happened to Mr. Barraclough, wouldn't it? I mean, we know his contract was expiring, and we were told that a decision would be made on his future in the summer, but it's almost like he was never here. It's just the silence is deafening. We know that Flynn usually works with Wayne Hatswell. He's had Wayne Hatswell as his assistant everywhere he's been, at all three clubs. Now, whether Wayne's available or not, who's to say? He might have got another job since Flynn left Swindon, and if that's the case, then it might well be that he's not available. We've also seen JP say that Aaron Downs was going to be the assistant, but he seems to have recanted that a little bit now in a couple of his recent updates. So, what happens with Ash? Is Ashley Vincent still going to be around? He's highly thought of at the club, as far as I'm aware. So are they just going to get rid of him because it's a complete sea change? There's still a lot of unanswered questions at the moment. It's good that we've got Michael through the door, hopefully, but I still think there's a lot of unanswered questions yet, especially with regards to the backroom staff. Yeah,
definitely. It's an interesting area, isn't it? And we knew there was going to be a question mark there anyway, even if, let's say, Darryl Clark had stayed. There was always going to be contracts there that are up. So it's probably not unusual. I think if he'd have stayed, it probably would have been, sorted out by now. We'd have known where we are. But change comes, and I suppose there is a lot going on. So I do understand, but I think that something needs to be done. Something needs to be said. Just let us know where we stand with it, because it's not great for the players. Do you remember last season? Didn't know who was coaching them, didn't know what they were doing. I know we've got Flynn now and Ash is there, so it's not as drastic, but there's still people in there that are like, are they here? Are they not? So what's going on there? I don't
think it's a worry for the players at the moment, because they're in pre-season, they're on holiday. I don't think it's a matter. It doesn't become an issue for them until July the 1st when they come back to pre-season. That's when and it'll all be sorted out by then.
Yeah.
So
I thought you said because we haven't got any.
We need to know. I mean, Ian Barraclough's contract was up at the end of the season. He's been linked, since the season finished, he's been linked with a couple of jobs in the League of Ireland, which he hasn't got. St Patrick's being one, Dundalk being the other. I don't think he wasn't appointed in either of those. So what's happening with him? Ashley Vincent, as you say, and the other person who we need to know about is Russell Milton, because he's head of recruitment, and now we've got a director of football. So do we need a head of recruitment and a director of football? So you've got to look at, so that's got to be looked at. And what I will say about that is, if Russell is going to leave the club, and that's going to happen, can it be done properly, please? Because otherwise, Russell's been at this football club for 20 odd years, man and boy, as a player, and in practically every other job you can think of, from caretaker manager to under 18s manager and so on and so forth, a few in between. So if it is going to come up to pass that Russell is going to leave the club, can we do it properly, please, Cheltenham Town? Not just shunt him out the side door or something, give him the recognition and the respect that he deserves, if that is going to happen. I don't think that's too much to ask, to be honest with you.
No, I agree, mate.
If he does go, then he's been a fantastic servant to this football club. I hope he doesn't, because I think he's a good bloke. But we'll wait and see on that one. But,
yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, it's we could still, there could still be a few changes to come on the backroom team, but we have got a little bit of time on that. As I say, the backroom team, to me, doesn't become important for another month until pre-season starts. So
hopefully we've got some players in them, haven't we? And they've got somebody to
they're going to need some play. They're going to need some players to train, aren't they? In the next month, otherwise it'll be a bit lonely at season. Hello, where is everybody? What's going on here? Where are you all?
Find himself in acres of space. That's if they're at season. So I don't know. Is that a thing now? Do we think Mr. Flynn will be assessing that? Do you think he'd already have a handle on that? The club have said that the training ground's being sorted. So
well, there you are then. Well, if you've got a training ground, then I think the idea is that the club will actually train there.
Let's hope so.
Seeing as we own it as well.
What? What? We're
we?
going to train on our own training ground? Are you sure?
Incredible scenes, eh?
Unbelievable. Who'd have thought it? Dear me. Maybe they've lost the keys to the tractor that gets driven over it on the weekend or something. I don't know. Gents, before we finish up on the new gaffer, any further thoughts, pressing matters you want to bring into comments on him, what you want to see, what you think of it, where we go from here?
I know you said, it seems like forever and everything, but actually I think we've got to give the board, well, not just the board, but the whole recruitment team credit, because it's been just over a week, really. In terms of getting a short list, getting the interviews done, getting offers out, getting acceptance. I think they've actually been quite on the ball this week, and they deserve a little bit of credit. Whisper it. They deserve a little bit of credit for getting it done so quickly, I think.
I'd love to know who the other two were, who they interviewed. I doubt if we'll ever find out. But
do we ever?
We never do we? We never do. I'd love to know.
Might be a little. We might get it. We might find out eventually. There might be a little drip feed out eventually. But I'd love to know. I'd love to know who the other two were. To be honest, but no, I think all in all, I don't. I think on paper, for what we need at this time, experience and knowledge of the level, and also pretty local, to be honest. I mean, he's from Wales, so he's not that far away. I'm not sure we could have done much better on paper. So fingers crossed that it all works out, to be honest with you. And it would be nice if we could keep him for a bit longer and he wasn't appointed Barnsley manager next summer.
Yeah, someone put that. Fair play to him. I thought it was brilliant.
Fair play to I think it was Birchie on Twitter who put that earlier on.
Belch,
and that was
Belch CTFC, wasn't it?
Belch, that's it, Belch.
Yeah,
that did. Sorry, Belch. No, that did make me laugh. That did make me laugh.
It was quite funny. I did see it, to be fair. As for the other two, Martin Allen and Paul Buckle. Oh my God, I just swore on the podcast. Sorry, boys. I just swore. I'm not joking on this next one when I say this. We spoke about it a little bit last week, lads, but it was confirmed. Gary Johnson is back, confirmed as director of football. Now, the conversation I wanted to have around this completely changed this afternoon when I found out that Flynn was going to be manager, not head coach. So I thought, loose terms, I know, because but when it's head coach, you coach. You don't have nothing else to do. Managers get involved in everything. Is that just a way of them saying, right, you're also going to have a say. We're not going to do anything without you knowing. But anyway, we'll get to that in a minute. Gents, instant thoughts. We already knew it was coming. Gary Johnson confirmed as director of football. Si, how do you feel about that one? And did you see it coming?
I didn't see it coming before it happened. Obviously, we were aware of it this time last week. So sorry, when we last recorded. So, but how do I feel? I'm prepared to give him a chance. It got very sour, didn't it, when he left? And the way the way he was treated by the board was actually really shoddy in the end as well. So it was very sour. Gary Johnson never leaves a club, or amicably, really, does he? You look at how he's cut all his ties with Torquay, for example. So him coming back was a bit of a shock. As long as he's having no tactical input, then I don't see that as too much of a problem. The fact that Flynn will be manager, I think it stands to reason he's going to have a say in the players that we're looking to bring in. But yeah, I'm skeptical. I think that's the polite way of putting it. I'm skeptical with Gary coming in, but I'm prepared to give him a chance. It could be a masterstroke. I don't think it will be, but it could be a masterstroke.
Could be a masterstroke, Mark.
Yeah, I'm on the fence with it, I must admit. First of all, like I said last time, this is somebody who was treated appallingly by Cheltenham Town Football Club when they sacked him in the manner that they did. It was probably the right decision to sack him, but the way it was done and the manner in which it was done was appalling. And most of that board are still in situ. Not all of them, but most of the board are still in situ. So I don't know. In some ways, it smacks that we've just gone down and we need to go up again. So let's see if we can reproduce the summer of 2016. And it just has that air a little bit for me as well. Which, I mean, I don't think you can ever reproduce the summer of 2016, to be honest with you, because it was just ridiculous. Okay, so 1 year out. I can't count. The summer of 2015, then the summer of 2016 was rubbish. Sorry, yeah, the summer of 2015 was very good. So and it just seems to me maybe they thought, well, if we could do that again, we'll get Gary in. He can do that again, and then we'll be all right. Experience-wise, again, I don't think you could find anybody with more experience than Gary Johnson. To be honest with you, he's been there and got the t-shirt. I mean, I think the only one you could get is probably Neil Warnock with a bit more experience than Gary. I think the fact that Michael Flynn is an experienced manager is good, because I think I think if it was a young, inexperienced manager, then I think Gary would probably, be able to sort of take over a little bit more than he will do. I think under than Michael will let him do. Again, we've seen what Gary can do with. My other concern is the academy, because the academy, give Mickey Moore his credit, the academy was doing very well when Mickey was here, and and I think he deserves a bit of credit for what happened with the academy. We've got some good, on paper it seems like we've got some good young players coming through our academy, and they need to carry on being encouraged and nurtured. And has Gary got that sort of track record with helping to nurture young players? sceptical on that one, really. So hopefully that will be the case, and that the academy will just carry on the good work that Tim Bell and everybody in that is doing. And yeah, I just hope Gary doesn't interfere too much. Really, let Michael's the manager. Let him manage. You know, that's what. And will Gary be able to be that sort of hands-off sounding board? Really, he could be there as a sounding board for Michael. You know, Michael say, "Right, I might. What do you reckon to this, Gary? You think I should try this, Gary? Could I try this, Gary? You know, go and get me another centre forward, Gary. You know." Or will Gary try and say, well, why don't you try this? Why don't you try that? Why don't you try the other? Proof's in the pudding, isn't it? We'll have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah,
it's an interesting appointment. It is a very, very interesting appointment. Will Gary be able to be our director of football, or will he still want to be heavily involved in the playing side of it? We'll wait and see.
it's going to be a difficult one, isn't it? I guess until we kind of give it time and give it a go, we don't really know how it's going to work. We don't know how Michael's going to work with Gary. We don't know. He's obviously, when they were interviewed, obviously been spoke about. Are you happy working alongside him? Yep, absolutely fine. So we know that's been ticked. So seems happy to do that. But you're right, Mark. I think it's got to be a fine line of best way possible. Know your role, if you know what I mean, to quote the kids, like that sort of thing.
There's got to be boundaries. There's got to be boundaries.
Absolutely.
It's like with your kids, you know. Yeah. We've all got kids. You know, they've all got boundaries. Our kids, what they can do and what they can't do. So it's got to be a little bit of the same thing there, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
Never met
he's
my
kind
kids,
of
have
that
you,
guy.
Hey?
I said you've never met my kids, have you?
Oh no, I have met your kids. One of them, anyway.
He's the good one. It's the other two that had a problem. But no, you're right. You are right. One thing that has surprised me is that we've not heard from him at all this week. Now I know we didn't hear much from Mickey Moore when he was here, but he gave the odd interview, didn't he? He gave the odd statement. We've not heard a peep out of Gary this week. That has surprised me. I expected a statement.
I think they'll probably do it. I think they're waiting. I think they're waiting for the manager, and I think they'll do it all together.
Yeah,
that does make sense. Yeah.
We'll all probably head to Maya again sometime this week and see what happens. Get that one again like we've had before.
Yeah, I think it's probably good, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it's probably good for him to do that as well, isn't it? You know, it's both guys are here, and you can hear from both of them sat next to each other. And then I think that's when I'll get my first real feel. How in tune are they together? And we'll go from there. But you talk about Gary's involvement. Couple of days ago now, I'm going to say, we are going to do this whole thing again later on. So we'll touch on it, but we'll touch on the main thing here now. With him, you mentioned experience, and he's got that experience. He's got a very good phone book, I'm sure. But I'd like it to go further than the last page, if that is okay. No offense to anybody at Torquay United. But we are seemingly going to raid Torquay United. We've been told that this week by JP. First name to come out the hat, forward Aaron Jarvis. Now, if I was to sit here and tell you what I know about him, what he's going to bring, I would be lying. But I did put a YouTube video up about it. Rangy, a lot like Rob Street-ish, holds the ball up. He's got a goal in him as well, especially at Torquay. Maybe not so previous to that. Gents, if either of you know anything more, anything I've missed, any contribution, please help me out. Because again, I don't know. I'm not this encyclopedia called Mark Halliwell.
I'm not an encyclopedia. I'm told that. Well, I read a piece on Devon Live, the sister site of Gloucestershire Live, talking about him, which described him as a nightmare for defenders to play against. So that's good to hear. 6'2", as you say, not a bad goal scoring record for Torquay, not bad. And I'll give you a little. There's a little contrast here. This was sent to me by a friend of mine, and I'll just. So we're signing a player now. He scored 24 goals in 56 games in the National League and the National League South, and he's signing for us on what you would call a free transfer. We spent our club record fee on a player who scored 24 goals in 64 games in Scottish League One and the League of Ireland. So very similar. So it'd be interesting to see how they compare, in my view, because everybody says, "Oh, the League of Ireland's not a great standard. Scottish League One's not a great standard. Oh, it's probably not." So, are they similar standards to the National League and the National League South? We might find out, because now we're going to have one from each who come to our club, possibly with very similar records. And I don't think it's the worst pickup. He's 25, 26?
26.
Yeah, he's played for Luton.
He's on the right side of 30, isn't he?
He started at Luton Town, but we'll forgive him that for now. He's he played for Sutton United as well, and I've seen a lot of people saying, "Oh, why are we signing a player from non-league? Why are we signing a player from non-league?" And I put this on the Facebook group earlier in the week. Jordan Thomas came from National League South, and everybody's painting him as our great white hope for next season. And he came from non-league, and plenty of players that have come from non-league have done pretty well. And for example, our leading goal scorer ever in the Football League spent many, many years scoring goals in Kent without being picked up in non-league. So Mo Issa came from non-league. He came from levels below where Aaron Jarvis comes from. So it's not about where they come from, really, in a lot of ways. It's about what they do when they're here. So you've got to just wait and see. And I think if you look at our forwards on paper, our forwards are probably the strongest part of our team at the moment, because you've got Taylor, you've got Street, you've got Keener, and if you add this lad to it as well, you've got 4 decent forwards there to pick from that give you something different. And it'd be interesting to see if that is the only forward that we bring in. It may depend. And
that's a point as well. We've already got 3 strikers, given their goal scoring record last year, apart from
forwards.
Attacking players that play further up the pitch than the back. Yeah,
he's not being signed as a first choice. I'll be amazed if he's being signed as first choice. If you were to ask me, of those 4, who's the first choice pairing, you're looking at Street and Taylor, aren't you? And then you've got Keener and Jarvis as backup, and that's all right. That's all right. The majority of reaction I saw when JP put out that this was the player we're looking at has actually been quite positive. There have been a few saying, Gary's got no contacts and he's only going back to Torquay and stuff like that. There's been a couple of those comments, but by and large, it has been very much, what if he's coming in to be another body and behind the current front 3, then where's the harm? It could be a cheap option just to add that body there. I've got no issue with it whatsoever. I think it's quite an astute signing.
I think Torquay were expecting him to leave anyway.
Yeah, and when they were the one thing I have learned is that when they were relegated from the conference, a lot of people expected him to either stay in the conference or even make the step up to League 2 then. So the fact he had another year there, that doesn't. I mean, it says something about his loyalty more than anything else, I suppose.
Well, it does, doesn't it?
Because he was expected to at least stay in the conference or make the step up again. So I'm not expecting a world beater. I'm not expecting 30 goals off the bloke, but come in, do a job. That's good enough for me.
Yeah, I agree. And I think as a striker as well, especially somebody at that height, yes, you want a goal scorer. Everybody wants somebody that bangs in 20 goals a season, but it's not like, for me, a player can have attributes that are just as good as that, if that makes sense in a weird way. If he can contribute assist wise, hold the ball up, get the team into positive positions, and there is things a player can do when they play up front other than score goals. Like
He's a decent squad. He's a decent squad option. He's a decent squad option.
I saw the video you put on, Tom, and I know you have to take highlight videos with a pinch of salt because they obviously only show the best. But the style of player he does that holder. I think Mark, you coined it on our chat earlier today, or yesterday. He's like a Poundland Will Goodwin by the looks of things, and he may well be better.
Both played for Torquay, of course.
Yeah.
They were together at Torquay, weren't they, last year?
They were. Yeah, they were. Yeah. So.
Does that mean we're going to sell him for lots of money, and then when they go up, we don't get him? No, let's move on.
He's going to have 6 good games, and we'll sell him for 400 grand.
Perfect. That's we need to do that to survive.
That's next year's Russell sorted.
No, I'm not doing that. No, stop. Right. Anyway, gents, positive, love it. It's so good, isn't it? However, I do have to take it to a little bit of a dark place now. It's got to happen. It's got to be spoke about. We had great news today, but we had not so great news. Will Ferry's leaving. He's going to Dundee United. It's going to happen. We've had Longy, Sirks, Southwood. I don't think he'd have ever stayed anyway. But the departures continue. Just on Ferry, how much will he be missed? And just like it says there, and it goes for everybody else, should Town have done more to keep them, or was it the right decision to go, right, Longy, Sirks, aging players can't pay you, on you go, take your money? Or should we have done more?
Well, they were offered contracts, weren't they? And they took the decision to turn them down, presumably to go and get more money elsewhere. We know we're not the biggest payers in the world, so you've got to go and I think you've got to take it, especially in Sercombe's case. I don't blame Liam Sercombe at all. Now Liam Sercombe's 34 years old. He's got this is probably his last contract. Let's face it. If it's a 2-year, I don't know how long the contract is, but if it's a 2-year contract up the hill, then at 36, they'll take him till he's 36. So you can't. I don't have a problem with Liam Sercombe going. I mean, okay, I know people have a problem with where him and Sean Long have gone. That's fine, but I don't have a problem with Liam Sercombe going and making more money elsewhere at the age he's. I'm disappointed about Sean Long. I am disappointed, and I think that is because of where he's gone. I think Sean Long has undersold himself by going and playing in National League. I think he's still a Football League player, personally.
I think he's still a League One player. I really do. He was decent for us in League One. He could easily find his way into a Shrewsbury or a Burton team. I genuinely believe that. But you're right. He's at least a Football League player. I don't care that he's gone to Forest Green. I don't care about the rivalry of Forest. It's not in me to see Forest Green as our rivals, and I know the younger fans do, and that's fine. I don't care that he's gone to Forest Green. I care more that he's dropped a division, dropped another division. When he's good enough for lower end League One, he's certainly good enough for League Two. It's a shame. It really is a shame.
Yeah, I agree with you. I find it a little bit disappointing that he's dropped down. As I say, I don't have a problem with Sirks. I love Liam Sercombe a bit, but on the Will Ferry one, again, I think that would be decent money in Scotland. And also, he'll get to play Rangers and Celtic 4 times a season, so that'll be fun for him. And I don't, and there has been talk about the compensation thing with him being under 24. So now I can shed a little bit of light on that, because I asked somebody who I know who would know these things, and they tell me that the reason why there will be no compensation is because we're not in the EU anymore. And the reason being that FIFA's rules on this have always been that it is for under 23 players, not under 24. But there was an amendment to this which allowed EU clubs to claim compensation up to 24. But because we are no longer in the EU, that no longer applies. So the compensation is under 23. And it does apply to cross-border transfers.
We just turned into a political podcast,
So-
aren't we? Jesus Christ. Yeah.
That's the
No,
information. That is the information that I was given by somebody who would know these things.
Look, I mean, it's information that nobody, I don't think, would have known that, would you really?
No.
Unless you're involved, like you say, unless you're involved in that scenario. And there was no telling that he was going to go there. We didn't know he was going to go there. It's not like we planned it. Do you know what I mean? He could have gone anywhere.
No.
But I just think it's just one of
Hang
those
on, Mark,
things.
does that mean-
On this ferry as well, to be fair.
Sorry, Tom. So does that mean if he'd gone to another English club, then there'd have been no compensation?
I think if he'd gone to another English club, it would have been under 24.
Yeah, we'd got
Because he's
Because
gone
it's a football league. Because it's
that
a
applies
football
to-
league rule.
to cross-border transfers. What I was
Right. Okay.
as it was, I'll read it out as it was exactly explained to me. FIFA rules have always been under 23, not under 24, as in England. But there is an amendment to this which allows EU clubs to claim compensation up to 24. Unfortunately, we are no longer in the EU. Applies to cross-border transfers.
It's an interesting one, isn't it? It's such
So,
a loophole.
There you are. So there you are.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
Dan's right in his comment there. He'd get more money. You get more money up going to Scotland than you would going to an Accrington or a Blackpool or a wherever.
Yeah,
So
no
again,
doubt about that.
Ferry's not
You
a
can't-
surprise, is he? Not as much.
no,
as,
it's
not as much as
It's
Luke
not.
Southwood. We knew Luke Southwood was going, but we kind of
Not on the scale of
suspected
Cirques
Ferry
and
was-
Long. Yeah.
No, we thought Ferry was going somewhere like Blackpool or somewhere like that, didn't
Mm.
we? You know, a bigger club.
Yeah.
Not too
Mm.
much bigger, but bigger than us regardless. So again, it's not really a surprise that he's gone. Genuinely, the only surprise I think for me is Longy. Cirques a little bit. I'm surprised. Like you, Mark, I don't blame him at all. You're right. It's his last deal. He's obviously going to be earning a lot more money up the hill than he would at Cheltenham. So I don't blame him at all. The only real shock is Longy to me.
well,
but
judging
then-
that Matty Taylor came to Cheltenham and took a pay cut.
yeah,
So
yeah,
that
and
tells
we
you,
still had
doesn't
to
it?
give him a 2.5,
That tells
and we still had to give him a 2.5-year deal to pay his wages anyway.
you
So,
to,
you know,
to soften the blow, shall we say?
yeah,
Yeah.
so,
think-
Long is the only one that hurts.
Yeah.
But then we all know my feelings towards Longy. So
Yeah, and I'm exactly there with you, Si. I love Longy. I thought he was great, outstanding captain. And I think next year you'll see it. You don't know what you've got until it's gone. So the utility player in him is just incredible. And he was made captain for a reason. I think when it first gave him the captain badge, captain's armband, a lot of people went, "Oh, what? Really? Why him?" And then as he kind of got it and got into the role, you could see why, and you could understand why he was the captain. So yeah,
he
all the
grew
best
in.
to him.
He grew into the role. It took him a while to settle into it, but at the end of the 22-23 season, and then for all of last season, he was a strong captain. He was a strong leader. And I agree with you, Tom. A lot of people will be surprised by how much we miss him next season. I really, really do.
There's the question.
Yeah, we've had that debate
Yeah.
last week, didn't we? We had it in the group chat actually.
I mean, again, you know that everybody I've spoken to says, "Oh, well, Lewis Freestone will be captain." Will Lewis
Hold your
Freestone-
horses.
Will Lewis Freestone still be here? That's the question.
Wow.
Or
Apparently,
maybe-
Michael Flynn will be making that
Or
decision.
maybe we have to sign a captain if Lewis Freestone's not here. I think if Lewis is here, then he's probably a very good candidate.
Mm. It's the natural captain, isn't it? It's just natural. He's done it
He's very
before.
He
vocal.
is.
Yeah,
He's very
yeah.
vocal, Lewis, and but you, if he's not here, then you've got to have a look around, and maybe you've got to sign a captain.
Absolutely. Well, we'll see. We need to sign some players, don't we? Really. It starts Monday, I guess. But yeah, just to wrap up on that, boys. I think from my perspective, I said about Longy. Ferry, I miss Fez. I thought he was brilliant at times. Like there was that period where he was like vintage Roberto Carlos, and then you were getting prime chunk Luke Shaw at times sometimes. But consistency wise, I think he was brilliant. I'd have been more than happy for him to stay. I wish he did stay, but money talks, doesn't it? A bit like the other two. Cirques,
I think
the only thing that annoys me with Cirques, right? The only thing this really grinds me, and I don't want to get the bleep machine out, so I'm not going to say it. But the really thing that is me off, right, is the level he's gone to, because he's much better than that level, and that's what really annoys. I don't care he's gone there; they're irrelevant to me anyway. But it's just the level, and I just think he is so much better than that. Even at his age, he is so much better than that. And that's what annoys me.
But it's probably softened
I
by the
think
money, isn't it?
yeah, and I think he's very big on staying relatively local. He doesn't want to move from Bristol, does he? So his
No.
options are limited after that. He's not going to Rovers aren't going to sign him.
He's got kids
Swindon
at
are a
school,
mess.
so
Yeah, the only options he really had were us, Forest Green, probably Newport. Don't see Newport being interested. We
maybe
obviously
Yeovil.
made him an offer, possibly Yeovil, but are they going to offer the same sort of money? Don't
Probably
think
not.
so.
Probably not.
So yeah. So his options are limited. He's after a big payday, and fair play to him. He's gone and got it. Yeah,
Well,
he's
I
got
think
it.
he's
At
earned
Forest
it.
Green, but
I think he's earned it
yeah,
after 700 odd
yeah.
games.
Arguably one of our best ever midfielders, and he goes
Yeah.
with my blessed. He really, really does. Regarding Fez, at times completely unplayable. One shocking thing, and I know you like to bring this one up, Mark. His goal involvement not very good. Only involved in what 10 goals, is it?
Yeah. 2 goals.
If you look at that,
2 goals. He played 75 league games and he scored 2 goals and had 8 assists, which for somebody playing as a wing back and going up and down, considering how many crosses he puts into the box, considering how he gets forward and some of the positions he gets into, to me, that's disappointing. That is a disappointing figure. We talk about, we judge strikers on their numbers. We judge defenders and goalkeepers on clean sheets. So if you're judging attacking players who, in a sense, a player who's playing as a winger, in essence, really, to only make 8 goals and score 2 is, to me, in 2 seasons, is a bit disappointing, really. And I felt as well, he struggled for fitness quite a lot. He struggled to, in a way, to finish games a lot of the time. He did a lot of the games. By the end of a lot of games, he was stretching his hamstrings out, and he was like doing all this, and so he might have to, a little bit extra fitness maybe, but no, he did a steady enough job for us.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Could not agree more. In terms, just finally, boys, any other departures we expecting to see? Is there any that stand out that are left? Do you think? Was there a worry?
Isn't he? I know.
Well, Lloyd is the one, isn't he? Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, Lloydie's one. I saw something today actually about that. I can't really remember that. I look at so much. My boss wouldn't think I do any work. But I saw something today. But I think that we kind of know where he's more than likely going to end up, don't we? Without saying it. Your mate Mick's place, Mark. But yeah, anything else other than Lloydie?
It must be the one that everybody's talking about, isn't it? But you don't know, do you? I mean, there was talk about Northampton.
He has
talk about. I mean, Shrewsbury is
Mickey Moore and Paul Hurst. So
that's why Shrewsbury seems to be the logical one. And they've lost a couple of strikers, haven't they? Because they've let Bowman go and so on. So I don't know.
And they were the only team he scored against last season. So
They ruined it. And that's the thing as well. He's got to get his numbers up. You know?
Yeah. And he would have done at this level as well, wouldn't he? Really, let's be honest. I'm not
I
saying
think so.
He scored 8 league goals in 100 games. You know, we talk about Will Ferry with his assists and his goals being disappointing, but 8 league goals in 100. I know only half of them are starts. So, but even so, you know, you'd expect you would have expected more.
If there was none of this one of our own, do you think there'd have been a bit more pressure put on?
Yeah.
We got to get rid of him.
Undoubtedly, yeah, I completely agree. There you go, and I think that's where you have to go. That comment there, plenty of chances, not enough productivity,
which I think is a fair assessment.
I think you know, everybody. I know nobody got on Keener's back last year when he wasn't scoring goals, but you know, in the past we've got on the back of strikers when they haven't scored enough goals, and you know, I think a change of scene will do George some good. I really do. I think a change of scene will do him some good.
Yeah,
and, he might thrive with a change of scenery. He might thrive.
I think a lot of people have said that.
You know, he gets in. You know, he works so hard. I think he's got everything else in his game. I really do think he's got everything else in his game. You know, his aerial ability, his work rate. He's got a good touch. I think he's quite skillful. He can bring other people into play. It's just that last little bit that he needs to crack, in my view. And I hope, because he's a nice kid, George, and you know, I really hope that if he does go, that he absolutely thrives in a change of scenery, because he's a good lad.
Still young enough to improve as well, isn't he? Really.
Yeah. What, 24, 25? Yeah.
It's got to be in the next couple of years, isn't it? It has to be in the next few years, I think, if he's going to improve. Gents, just temporarily going to pause on the town chat because there's something else I want to finish up on. But before we do, our guest has been waiting very patiently in the background. I just want to bring in a man we've had on previously, Pete from Blue Bars. How are you, Pete? You okay?
Yeah, very well, thank you. And you guys all good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for having me on. Firstly, I just want to apologise for doing a bit of a John Terry and wearing my full kit, but I thought if anyone wants to look us up after,
nice doing it, so you're all right.
Need to set up a bit, actually. Then they can look us up to get tickets at the end. But I thought I'd get that out of the way.
It's product placement. It's very good. It's very good strategy, isn't it? Yeah. Pete, thank you for joining us. I mean, we've been trying to get this on for a while because we are, like you mentioned it there, we are aware of the Euro 2024 fan zone, fan park sort of thing that you guys have got going on at Wadham Road. For those who don't really know, I'd imagine a lot of our listeners would know, but just in case, could you just give a bit of background on what it is, what we can expect, and what they can get from it?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, firstly, I just want to say thanks to you guys for having me on and for the support throughout the season, resharing all our posts, and to Mark as well that always does it for us. We've absolutely loved our first year at the club, and I, for one, I'd only been a couple of times before, if I'm deadly honest, got fully sucked in. I found myself at Wickham on a Tuesday night. I wish I hadn't been. But you know, we've really got into the club, and that goes for all the staff as well. And you know, follow things intently now. I find myself refreshing the Twitter feed on transfer deadline night at 11 o'clock and stuff like that. So yeah, we're fully involved. So just a quick thank you to all the supporters that have welcomed us in. We've had some great feedback. We tried a few things. A lot of it's worked, I think, and you know, we've got plenty more we want to have a go at as well. But the Euros, I mean, I just saw like an opportunity. You know, we've got a huge car park there, a big space. And I know it's been discussed on here, you know, the club needs to do more stuff off the field. And this is very much in conjunction with the club. I mean, I've kind of taken the lead with it. But the key thing to stress to supporters is every bit of food and drink bought at this Euro fan zone, a percentage of it is going to the club, you know, a healthy percentage as well. So they are putting money back into the club rather than going down to your local pub, Wetherspoons, watching it at home, whatever it might be. Come down to the club and have some food and drink there, and you know, it will benefit. We've also made it totally free, which I'm seeing multiple ads everywhere on my social media now from all fan parks around the country, and most of them are, £3 to stand, £5 to seat. We've got seating for around 500 to 600. I'm trying to rustle up a few more chairs here and there. So it's on a first come, first served basis. Come down, get your seat. There's plenty of standing room. We've just been working it all out today. We've genuinely got room for 1,500 to 2,000 people. I've seen the screen in the flesh myself. I went down to Bournemouth in February and had a good look at it. And 80 metres away, you can see it. Top NPA system to go alongside it. And then, we're going to have a couple of guest kind of food trucks each week as well. We've got pizza van alongside our partners, Food on the Move, that did the food very well at the club this year. They'll be there. Some other vans, maybe an ice cream van if the sun even comes out. And then a huge bar at the back, which will be manning and, serving people quickly on. So, I think the response we've had has been unreal so far. We're at about 80% tickets for the first game already with 2 weeks out without people even really thinking about it. So I'd love to max out, especially that first Sunday. And I think once we've done it and people have actually seen it, hopefully the rest of the games look after themselves and England look after us and progress all the way. But no, we're really excited about it. And I just stress to fans, if you haven't got your tickets, get them now. It's through a company called Ticket Source, but we'll post after this with the link rather than me reading it out, and you guys can share it, etc. And we just hope we can create a really good atmosphere, B, benefit the club, and it's just a really good event for the community and the town. There's not been one in the town before, or speaking to the police and licensing, even in Gloucestershire, I don't think. So hopefully it all works out and it doesn't rain.
And
where will you be having the screen, Pete?
Sorry.
Where would that go?
What's that? Sorry.
Where will you be putting the screen? Where's it going to be?
So the screen will be, as you come in, you've got the Bowls Club hedge. It'll be, ideally, they're bringing it down next week, so it'll be a little bit cable dependent, but hopefully that'll be right. Opposite where my kind of shipping container is, where we store some stuff. So it'll be there facing down the car park towards the far end. Tables, chairs all the way, and then standing at the back, cordoned off, and then big bar, food trucks, and all the toilets be used from the paddock stand will be in use basically for people to go in. So nice contained area, and hopefully can whip up some atmosphere.
Perfect. Go on, Mark.
It's just for the England games, is it?
Yeah, well, we're going to do starting off just doing the England games, but we'll see what kind of traction's like. And we've got the screen for the whole tournament. I've hired it for that long. So, quarterfinals, semi-finals, maybe we'll open then as well. We can do. We'll see what the kind of feedback's like and if it's worthwhile. We can always put the tickets out, and I'll just say on there, we need to hit a certain level for people to come. The danger is obviously with free tickets, a lot of people don't turn up because they're free. We know that. So we want to go above what we're aiming for, as it were. But I think certainly quarterfinals, semi-finals, we'd like to be opening. And hopefully England are in the final on the 14th. But if not, we'll certainly be looking to open for that because people will still hopefully come down and have a look.
Yeah, I'm definitely not saying it.
It's quite weather dependent, isn't it, Pete? You really do need the weather, don't you?
Sadly, Mark, yeah.
That was going to be my question, actually.
Yeah, we've had 18 months of rain. We are going to have, we're supported by Heineken and Cellar Supplies in town. We're going to have some parasols. We're going to have this. I think as long as it's not continuous driving rain, if it's the odd shower, we'll all cope, being British. But we are in the lap of the gods to a degree, but that's the same with a lot of these things going on all around the country. So we've just got to, fingers crossed, and hopefully everyone's, a hardy soul comes down no matter what, and we'll get through it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And stressing as well, Pete, that the club does benefit from this.
Yeah, totally. So I've worked, Paul Bence has been a great supporter of this, and worked with the board, and I've obviously presented. I've had licensing meetings and everything like that, and it is completely. I've driven it and the idea, and we're kind of running it. But a percentage, a healthy percentage, as I said, goes to the club on every bit of food and drink bought. It is very much giving back to the club and in conjunction with them. And I'm constantly badgering the board with other ideas and events I want to do and drive things off the club. And we've potentially, you know, I'm working on some exciting plans for, you know, normal match days that could really benefit supporters. They're a little way off at the moment, but with a bit of luck, we might get something in. I've met the new commercial guy, Linton, who's, you know, we got on well and had a good meeting. And I hope with him, we can kind of drive things off the pitch, because of course I'm here to make money for my own business, but also that in turn will benefit the club, because they'll be making money as well. And also the big thing is, you know, offering supporters a better match day experience and other events.
Yeah. This is what I like about interviews. Sometimes they go so easy, because that was going to be my next one. And obviously, massive thank you for everything you guys have done and changed the atmosphere at Wadham Road inside. It's been very much improved. I mean, I go behind the goal. It's brilliant. You know, you get DJ sometimes. Everybody's having a beer. It's great. So thank you for that. That was my next question. Is there anything new that we can look forward to as we head towards next season?
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to do you've probably seen we're doing a away supporter fan zone, which has, you know, been really well received by away fans, because, you know, they had nothing and we packed it out with a big club. Sadly, after linking up with them all last year and they all know it's there now, I've got to start again with a new load of teams with not quite a bigger fan base, but hopefully we bounce back up and can do that. But we'd love to do something on a home supporter front from that, so we can get everyone together. It's not a massive ground, so it'd be nice to have all home supporters in one area pre-kickoff. I'm certainly in discussions and trying to make something like that happen with us running it, which I'd love to, because, you know, we've built a good bond with supporters, and I think they kind of trust us to deliver and do it well. And, you know, I'd like to see. I've built some good links with the university now, so I'd like to, you know, student bands, DJs, whatever, people coming down, changing it up each week, putting different entertainment on pre-match. So I'm hopeful we can do things. All these things take time. There's a bit of red tape, but I'll certainly keep banging on the door to do things on match days and other events, you know, off the field as well.
Yep, for sure. Pete, thank you for that. And also a massive thank you, because not everybody will know, but because we only discussed it. Well, we started yesterday, finished today. Thanks, Owen, opening the messages. Igloo, obviously, big support of the club, big support of the fans, even more so because you're going to be the sponsor of the Robins Report next season. So really appreciate your support, and we'll continue to support you guys. And hopefully we can all work together to try and keep this, you know, this massive connection going and making the match day. That's what it's about, isn't it? The match day experience for a sport. It's more than just 90 minutes.
That's it. I mean, I've worked in sport for 20 years commercially as well, and it's win, lose or draw. When you come through the gates, you want to have a good time and go away, and especially supporters that haven't been before, they want to come in and go, oh, that was fun, we'll come back. So I think that's a big thing we're trying to improve, especially you mentioned behind the goal. You know, when I first arrived, you had to stand in a designated area, and I wouldn't want to come down there and stand there. So now everyone can move freely, walk around with food and drink, and, you know, we've whipped it up a bit back there. So we'll continue to try things. The loyalty cards went down well, and to let supporters know, we will be letting those continue for the Euro fan zone, so you can still get your loyalty cards down there. And just really encourage supporters to come down, take a look, and hopefully we'll see you all there, and look forward to next season.
Perfect.
Thank you very much for having me on.
No worries. Just before you go, because we just have had one question, so we'll do this one. Pete, any plans to do anything similar in the Colin Farmer stand?
Well, the Colin Farmer, we're a bit tight. We did put in a second kind of bar at the far end last year, just a draft lager and cider, because it's such a big stand, and I thought if we put that in, we'll get a load more people having a drink. But in all honesty, we kind of borrowed from Peter to pay Paul, and it didn't make a huge amount of difference. I mean, the sports bar's over there, and we're doing okay there. I'm open to any suggestions of what supporters might like, or bring them down earlier. I think if we ever did do a fan zone, I'd ideally like to not open behind the goal, or even the Colin Farmer pre-kickoff, and just try and get everyone in one bar, and then, or maybe open half an hour before kickoff in the Colin Farmer when people make their way around, but try and condense, you know, the supporters we've got in one place pre-match. But yeah, we'll play about with things, and hopefully we'll get there. And we're as I said, we're open to ideas. If someone says, "Oh, this would be great," we'll try it. So yeah, please drop us a message on any of the social platforms with your ideas.
Perfect, brilliant. Cheers, Pete, and of course, drop the link, and we'll give it a post. And hopefully, we get some here at the fan zone. But cheers for joining us. Really appreciate it. Keep up the brilliant work, and we'll see you on the first England game.
Cheers, guys. See you all there on the 16th of June.
16th. There we
Cheers,
go.
Pete.
Cheers.
All the best.
Bye.
Brilliant. Another thing, isn't it, gents? Just it's good to see a bit of care going into the fans. We've said it for years, haven't we? We've all wanted a fan zone. I've been a massive advocate for it. It's just never happened. It's very difficult, though, isn't it? I think we've got to understand how difficult it is on a match day.
It's space.
Space,
It really is. It's the car. The car, as Pete says there, the car park is where it should probably go, but there's not a lot of room there. This is where, if Cambridge Place was cleared,
if only there was a bit of land by the side of it.
Exactly right, and but it is a difficult one, and I'm sure the appetite is there from the supporters, isn't there? Every time, why can't we have a fan zone? Can we have a fan zone? Can we have a fan zone? It's just thinking of a way that it can to make it happen. Really, it's it's good. I mean, it's good there that the Euro thing will benefit the club. That's what I was quite keen to find that out really. So, but no, that is a good thing if it is going to benefit the club in some way.
Yeah. So if you can,
I think it's a great idea. I think it's a really good idea, and Igloo have been great since they came in. It's going to sound really crass because they now sponsor the pod, but they have been a breath of fresh air in the past year. They've been so much better than what we had before. Speaking from my own experience,
no frozen water anymore.
No frozen water. Yeah, I mean, even on the
there was a time we could have actually done with that, but we weren't allowed it. Just saying.
But no, they have been fantastic. They've been a breath of fresh air. Yeah, they're quite expensive, but every football club is. So it's been they've really been one of the positive stories of the past year, definitely.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Gents, well aware we've just gone over the hour mark. Any thoughts, any feelings you want to get off your chest? Anything more that we've left off the table? I mean, I'm just looking forward to Monday and seeing what happens now.
You haven't mentioned the season ticket update, Tom. I
1,400 season tickets.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I made a thing
amazing
about
that we've got that
what
high.
An idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's
1,400
absolutely
season
fantastic.
Yeah, definitely.
It is. It is brilliant. It is absolutely brilliant.
It's been turmoil off the pitch, absolute turmoil. Yet people are still prepared to pay into the club this year, and we're not well supported. That's half of our average home attendance, really, give or take. I think it's remarkable. I really, really do. And I've got my season ticket. My family have got theirs. Tom, I know you've got yours. It's great to see. It really is.
Yeah, for me, I think.
Yeah, well done, everybody.
For me, I think it's absolutely fantastic that it just shows the support that this football club has. Do you know what I mean? That core that is there is fantastic, and hopefully, with the positivity now coming, let's throw all the positivity into it. Get a few more, because at the end of the day, what's better, sitting on the couch watching Sky Sports News, whatever it's called now, Soccer News, or going and watch your local football club? Go and watch your local football club. It costs a bit. The cost, I get the cost. I moaned about the cost, but it is what it is. Like, you've got to get behind them, because if we all go on about we want them to progress, but how can we progress without the support, basically? So if you can afford it, get there, even if it's game by game, just get it and support the club. But 1,400 legends, in my opinion. Fair play. And I'm buzzing. I'm looking forward to the next season. I really am now. Do we think, though, that the appointment of a new manager, not head coach, I'm going to keep on about that because that's very interesting. Do we think that, along with a couple of interesting additions to the squad, would see that number go up a bit? I mean, forgive me.
We've only got 2 days.
It's 1,800 the record.
Well, we've got 2 days of the early bird to go.
And this is the thing. Would it be sensible now to go right? Early bird extension.
I don't think they will. I think it's too late now. If they were going to do it, they'd have done it today.
It makes sense, though, wouldn't it?
Well, I don't know. But
To me,
everybody knows it's June the 2nd, so we'll wait and see. But
hopefully.
They've been on sale for what, 5 weeks now, I think. It's been a it's been a large window. It's been a long window for an early bird. I'd be amazed if they did. I get your point, Tom, especially with the appointment of a new manager, extending it by a week or so. Maybe get a couple of players in. You ride a bit of a wave. So I get your point. But by the same token, people have known about the early bird for about 5 weeks. You know, if you were going to get a ticket on the early bird, you would have done it by now. You know.
Yeah. Again,
we've got a new manager.
There's those that are going, "Oh, I'm going to wait and see what happens. Is it going to get any better?" For me, it's got this.
There are a couple.
You know, but I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, that's a different. Look, it closes by the time we pod again. We'll know the final number, and I'm hoping to see it a little bit more than what it is now. But gents, really appreciate it. Thanks for joining me. It's nice to do a positive podcast after the last few have felt really, why do we even bother? It's aware it's Friday night. I can see the viewers. Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. I'm really sorry. For some reason, something happened with the X account, so we couldn't get the comments from there. We are on YouTube, so you can comment on there. We'll still pick it up. Next time, I will fix it because I'm going to be hosting and I'll get time to focus.
We'll blame Owen.
Let's blame Owen. Blame Owen. Yeah, he's not here, so I can't do what I normally do in the background. But yeah, Si, Mark, thanks for joining me. Hope you have a great weekend, whatever you do. It's another one without football, but the Euros are coming. And then the cricket's on as well. So, there is things to keep us going. Hopefully we'll be back next week. I can't guarantee it. Hopefully we will be. We've got some sign-ins because the new manager's in. Mark, let us know how it goes with the unveiling if the invite comes through the post. Is it for post now or is it email? I think it's email now, isn't it? Yeah. But brilliant.
Older than me.
Well, I said fax earlier when I couldn't get the messages from Pete because Owen had opened it. Oh, Jesus. I think that's about time to finish. Gents, thanks for listening. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. You will be able to listen back. I just need to edit it and change a few things. But yeah, he's not here, but our Nick is saying, as always, up the town.